So we are at $28 and some change silver. Now, gold, matter of fact, let me just get the exact amount right this second, because gold was down. Okay, silver's down 61 cents. It's $28.83. Gold is down about 20 bucks, down to $15.85. Now, I've told you, I don't know how many times, I'm going to say at least 3 or 4 over the past, I don't know, 2+ months, that I have had this feeling in my gut. We have not seen the end of the raid on precious metals, namely silver, because that's mostly what I focus on. But gold and silver, you could kind of basically put them in the same category as far as when the markets move up and down. Now, we're at $28.83 whatever cents it was. I've given you my speech on why I think they want to really smash silver and gold, and my reasoning was because they have got to get rid of the GLD and the SLV. Those are paper, basically every ounce of, for example, the SLV for silver, 1 ounce, let's, you know, today's price, let's say $28, it would cost you $28 to buy a share of the SLV stock. It's just one, it's basically like buying an ounce of silver, except you never get the ounce of silver. They tell you, we have the silver, we went out and purchased the silver when you gave us that $28 or whatever. But you know, but you paid the money. They're claiming, yeah, we got the silver in our warehouse. And by the way, our warehouse trustee, goalkeeper, is JP Morgan Chase. Imagine that. And I feel that the day's gonna come where they're gonna allow the price of gold and silver to drop so significantly to where they can basically say we are liquidating the SLV and the GLD, which they have the right to do. It's in their prospectus. I did a video quite a long time ago, it was probably a year ago, that I did this video, and I read basically the prospectus of the SLV. It's almost as disturbing as reading one of Obama's executive orders or reading the National Defense Authorization Act and then realizing that our Congress just pushed that and he passed it, you know, he signed off on it. It's almost as disturbing as that when you read this. Some might even argue it's more disturbing. Who knows? So, another guy, we have Bob Chapman, who said not that long ago, we're not going to see these low prices again. $30 silver thereabouts. So I'll give him $28 too. We'll call it $28 to $30 silver. It's not going to go any lower than that. He seemed to have thought that JP Morgan, due to the $40 it was at, not that long ago, and it went down to 30, and just the other day we had almost $38 silver, and then it went back down, of course, to where we're at now, 28. That's $10 from where it was, but naturally they smashed it 6% as soon as it started climbing. So he claims that they've already gotten out of their short position, that they're no longer in this short position. I argue with that, and I have this whole time saying there's no way they got out of their short position. And he said they're either fully out of their short position or they're mostly, like there's just a tiny bit left kind of thing. There's no way that silver would have only moved the little bit it did move down in the amount of time frame we were looking at if JP Morgan really got out of its short position. There's no way. They have a huge short position. There's no way that would happen, in my opinion, of course. Now Bob Chapman says, oh, I've got 25 years of trading and markets, and trust me, it's not going, that's the bottom. Well, we're at the bottom right now today. And he may be right, by the way. This guy is a smart guy, and he does call a lot of things that seem to work out the way he talks about. So, I'm not gonna dog on him for sure. I'm just saying my gut has been telling me we're not done. I mean, even $25 silver, to me, that's not low enough for the SLV and the GLD to come out and say, oh, due to these crappy market conditions, we're liquidating the GLD and the SLV. I don't think that's low enough. Now, from what I also understand, is that the absolute bare minimum that silver basically has to be at, no matter what, would be the cost that it is to mine it. And it's somewhere around $15 or $16 an ounce, roughly, to mine it. So you couldn't have silver go down to $10 and stay there. You know, it couldn't go down to $10 an ounce and then just stay there for a while. I mean, it could stay there for a little while, naturally. But it couldn't stay there for too much longer, because then the mining companies would go under and force a massive shortage of unbelievable proportions. I mean, that's exactly what would happen. So if you're the elite and you want to push it down that far, just to teach everybody a lesson, so to speak, and get out of the SLV and get out of the short position, etc., you could drive the price of silver, because again, the paper price, which is 100 to 1 of the real thing, obviously you have massive leverage to move the market one way or the other. They could push it down again, like they did in 2008 and the end of 2008, early 2009, to $10. And just like then, it was just short-lived. It didn't last that long. I scooped up a bunch. My friend at work scooped up a bunch. We are very happy with that purchase. And I'm just letting you know, they could do it again. And then now would be the perfect timing to get out of the SLV and GLD while the markets are tanking. Now, at the same time, you know what? Maybe they're not ready to get out of the SLV and the GLD. They may realize, hey, we never have to show anybody the real gold and silver. We can just pretend on paper we have it, and since it's a stock and no one can ever demand delivery of our silver, of course, we can just continue pumping up this basically Ponzi scheme and creating a share out of a piece of silver that they never owned, never had, never was created, just claiming on paper, oh, we've got, 9,600 tons of silver in our warehouses, JP Morgan's warehouses. They never have to show it, so they could essentially, when the price of silver skyrockets, they may not need to liquidate the SLV or the GLD and just ride that train all the way to the top. And for them, that'll be one of the most profitable things in the world, because they never had to go out and buy the real thing. Maybe they had to buy a tiny bit of silver and a tiny bit of gold. Let's say they bought 1,000 ounces, or excuse me, 1,000 tons of silver, as opposed to 9,600 tons like they claim. It's enough that people who work for them, people who are in JP Morgan's warehouses, all that kind of stuff, would see a good amount of silver, and they're also being told, well, there's other silver in other locations too. This is for the SLV. No one's gonna know any better. Okay, there's a lot of silver here. From what my eyes are telling me, 1,000 tons is a lot of silver. Okay, I'm satisfied. So they just keep claiming we add more silver, we add more silver, we add more silver. They haven't bought a damn thing, just claiming that they did, and then issuing more stocks on it. It's no different than basically Enron. SLV and GLD is basically an Enron. It was a fake energy company that was, nothing that it talked about or had existed. It was fake. The whole damn thing was a giant scheme. And you saw what happened with that giant scheme. It finally came crashing down. Which also means the SLV and the GLD will also come crashing down sooner or later. The question is, how soon or how much later? And is it going to be because they dissolve it, which isn't what happened with Enron. Enron didn't just decide one day, hey, let's crash the price of everything and liquidate these fake shares of ours, and no one will catch us. They got caught red-handed. They got busted. So naturally, you would have to say sooner or later the SLV will get caught red-handed and busted, and that's when the true cards will be shown. But until then, these guys are bankers. The other side of this coin is that these guys are bankers and they want to make a lot of money. And what a perfect example of not having to buy gold and silver, but pretending you bought the gold and silver and then issuing stock certificates, shares, to everybody who wants one. Now, normally if I'm a company and I have to issue shares, you can come to my building, you can see what we do. We sell business phone systems here. That's what the sales team does anyways, and You could look around, you could see our guys on the phone. It's clear that we're doing something. You can't go do that with the SLV. The only thing you're going to see them on the phone doing is cold calling to get more people to buy shares. They're not offering anything. They don't have, it's not a mining company. They don't have anything going on other than a printer printing out shares to give to people, saying, oh, whatever the price of silver is today is the price that you get on this piece of paper. So if they allow the SLV silver to crash down so low that they dismantle the SLV and GLD, they make a ton of money because they never had that gold or silver. Therefore, they never had that expense. They never had to go out and buy it when it was $30 an ounce, $40 an ounce, $50 an ounce, $25 an ounce. They never had to go buy it. They bought it one time at one price, a little bit of it, and that was it. And now they issue shares and say that they keep having, we got more gold or more silver, and we can issue more shares. And if we have 9,600 tons, you could be rest assured that every single ounce that includes, we have a share out there. We don't have any more than that, any less than that. Is it exactly how much we have in there? So if they crash it, they make a massive amount of money one way or the other, because every person who gave them whatever the price of silver was that day per share, right? I want 5 shares at $30, etc. That's $150, right? 5 shares times 30, 5 times 3, 15. You're talking $150 that you gave to the SLV boys. They never went out and bought the silver. But at any time before it implodes, you can go back in and say, okay, I want out of my share, I'm going to sell it on the market. And you might make some money if the price is going up. But if the price is steadily going down, everyone's holding on to their shares potentially. We're going to wait for it to go back up. But what if it crashes down so low that they dismantle it? Here's $10 an ounce. Basically, you get back. You had 5 shares, you paid $150. Now you have 5 times 10, you have $50. So you lost $100, you get back 50. Out of the $150, you basically net loss of $100 there. And have a nice day. They never have to tell you, show you anything that we've sold the silver. They're going to claim it, of course. They're never going to get it. And at the same time, at $10 an ounce, if they were to sell the fictitious 9,600 tons, but they claim their overall expense for that was around $30 an ounce, let's just say, on average, we'll call it $30 an ounce that they paid for 9,600 tons. Now it's $10. We just liquidated all of it, guys. All 9,600 tons. JP Morgan bought it all, as a matter of fact. We didn't even need to call in Loomis, Fargo, or any trucking company. I can't even think of the name of those stupid things. The bank trucks that come in and get the money out. Armored car, whatever. And we didn't even have to call it. JP Morgan had it in its vaults. They were the custodian, and they decided to buy it all from us. And they bought it all from us at $10 an ounce. We were in at 30, so we took 2/3 of a beating, which means most of our shareholders probably did too. And sorry about that, but have a nice day. So you will see the bank transaction from them to JP Morgan of JP Morgan paying them $10 an ounce for this silver. And I want to throw another side of a coin, a third side of a coin if I can. Let's just say that somehow, some way, the SLV is actually telling the truth. And they have the 9,600 tons that they claim on paper. They actually have it of silver. Let's just go there for a minute. They have it. Okay. Price drops down to $10 an ounce shortly. Doesn't last that long, but it doesn't matter. Because if it's right now, it's today up, we're at $10 an ounce. We're liquidating SLV, JP Morgan's buying it all. And JP Morgan legitimately buys all of the silver for $10 an ounce. And then we find out, naturally, this big shortage comes, and the prices start skyrocketing. Now JP Morgan is sitting on silver, massive quantities of silver, that it purchased for $10 an ounce. I'm just throwing this number out there, by the way. Maybe it's $15 an ounce, maybe it's $20 an ounce, I don't know when this happens. But I'm going to go with 10. Because, like I said, when the bankers want an asset, when they want something, they don't pay over fair market value for sure. They are absolutely not going to pay fair market value. They are going to destroy the price of something and then buy it. That's what they do. That's what history shows every single time. This time cannot be any different. And the fact that JP Morgan is the custodian on different groups' silver, including the SLV, they're holding it in their secure warehouses. Why is JP Morgan so adamant about being the guy that has all the silver and gold? Even though it's not theirs, we're holding it for other people. I think it's because of what I just said. When they destroy the price of silver and everyone starts selling it out of control, JP Morgan will be like, look, it's already in our warehouse. We don't even have to move it. We'll buy it from you at today's $10 an ounce. And everyone will be like, well, okay, all right. Stock market crashed. Everything crashed. Silver and gold went down too. And then JP Morgan sitting back there smiling. Old Jamie Dimon and friends, they're all back there smiling. Blythe Masters, her too. Because they just got a fire sale on silver, and now they're going to ride it to the top. And then when it goes to the top, everybody that was in, say, the SLV or whatever, is going to be crying foul that, hey, we were taken advantage of. And they're going to say, hey, what do you mean you were taken advantage of? The market went down. We didn't force the SLV to sell. We didn't force any of these people to sell. Everyone just sold. We bought. The prices started rising again. This happens all the time. There's a bottom and then there's a top, and we just happen to call it, precisely. And good luck proving that they didn't, that they weren't just lucky. Good luck proving that. Those of us that already have the physical silver in our safes, in our possession, we can sit back, and it may be gut-wrenching for people to see a move from $30 to $20 to $15 to $10 even, again, like it was in 2008 and 2009. But just know this. When or if it goes down that low, you will have, I'm going to say, the absolute only opportunity of your life to have silver at that price. Now, I already said that to friends and family when it went to $10. And we've never seen it even come close to coming back down to 10. And we may not see it come down that low this time. Maybe the $25 is the low, or $20 is the low. I really don't know. But I do know, whatever it ends up being, I don't think there will ever be an opportunity, as long as you or I are alive, that whatever this next round of wherever it stops, that it's going to go that low again. And again, even if they push on it now, and let's say we're stuck around $25 an ounce silver, and we make it to June, July, and remember that 35% margin hike from the CME group that they gave us 90 days on? That 90 days may kick in, and then all of a sudden, $25 silver turns into $15 silver rapidly. Now, here's another interesting thing. The timing of the CME group, which was just last week, where they said we're going to comply with some rules in the Dodd-Frank Act, and we need to increase all margins across the board of all commodities. Well, not all margins, but margins across the board of all commodities starting on Monday. Just out of nowhere, like they always do. It would have been a bloodbath for all commodities, including gold and silver, on Monday. But enough people cried foul that they said, oh, we'll see if we can contact the CFTC and get an extension. And I bet old Bart Chilton was the guy that said, yeah, give him the extension. But the banker said, but damn it, we had a plan for next Monday, the week, which is the week we're in right now. And today is what, Wednesday? We had a plan to crash silver and gold, damn it. And you got in the way of our CME group. We're going to crash it anyways. So naturally, $32 silver has become $28 silver here pretty rapidly. There was already a slight sell-off last week when the news came out that the CME group was forcing that 35% margin hike on Thursday and whatnot, and then Friday. And then they reneged on Friday on that and said, we've got a 90-day extension. And for some reason, gold and silver still seem to go down, even though the playing field was extended for 90 days. Now, why would people still get out of silver and gold that fast? You got 90 days. Everybody likes to make money. You could be able to say, well, I'm going to play for at least another month. Or 2 months. I'm going to get out 2 months instead of the 90 days, the 3 months. I'll be able to get out in plenty of time. I'll play the game. And what we're seeing right now is that didn't matter. Forget that they even said 35% margin hikes. Forget that they even said they're going to extend it 90 days. Just pretend none of that happened. They're raiding gold and silver right now. That was the excuse that was going to be used for the rating of gold and silver, so that the news and everyone else could say, well, the reason you gold and silver bugs are upset is, well, there's a margin hike. They had to comply with your senator and congressman's new rules. Isn't that what you guys wanted? And we would all say, well, I mean, yeah, I guess, but it would have been an excuse to push the market down. But that excuse got extended 90 days. And the club doesn't want to wait 90 days. The club says, we don't care, we're in charge. Raid the market. We're going to raid it. So now everything's going down. And again, the question is how far down? Because as everything's in the red, bank stocks, the Dow, the S&P, everything's going down right now. And yesterday too. You know Ben Bernanke is going to have to come out with quantitative easing 3. How soon is he going to do that? And how far are the stocks and the Dow and that kind of thing going to fall versus gold and silver? Because we may see what they always do is, okay, everything's in the red, nobody can complain. You can't say we're just targeting gold and silver. But strangely enough, when everything's in the red, a lot of times gold and silver are more in the red. A lot of the time. Not 100% of the time, but most of the time. And right now, I think is one of those times again. So, they just use it as an excuse to push down further on those. But at the same time, like I said, if they want to go buy these things on the cheap, they push it down, everyone gets scared, the paper people get scared, because that's the only people selling is the paper people. They sell out their contracts, it pushes the price down. Again, we should be thanking, right now, $28 silver, we should be thanking JP Morgan. Even though you may be upset, because depending on where you bought in at, this is just what they call a little bump in the road. Think about this, as I always say, if you had a stock in some other thing, you know, you had Fidelity, you know, let's say you had Fidelity handling your 401k. Are you going to sit there and stare at every single stock every single day and see what the price is doing? You're not. Nobody does that. So it's funny because when it comes to silver and gold, all these people who are against it poke at it and point out that, hey, it's like it's not allowed to go down. It can't even get smashed for a little while and then go back up. It got smashed from 50 to 40, from 40 to 30, and then, or 32, excuse me. And then from 32 and change, it went back up to $44. And then came back down, then went back up to $44, then came back down, then went back up to $44. That was in September of last year. 2 times at least it did that. To the $44 range, or 43, 44. And then we're now back to 30, etc. Now today's 28. We already saw it go back there from 32 to 40, to 44. Or 43, whatever it is. That's an $11 move up. So, I know it tugs at your gut, some people at least, but you got to understand, when I say long term, this is like a battle going on, and that's them. They're not even winning. Even though they're pushing the price down, they're not winning the battle. We're actually winning, because now more and more people are going out to buy more silver today. And they might even wait to see how the week ends and say, man, I may just wait till Thursday or Friday or Monday if it keeps going in the red. And if I hear Ben Bernanke come out, I think we're gonna start more easing next week or next month. You better put your order in immediately, because the prices are gonna go back up, and the boys aren't gonna take a big beating on the stock market. For one thing, and this is an important thing, we are at a presidential election year, and we all know they want Obama back in the Oval Office. Mitt Romney's gonna be the runner-up, the Republican candidate. He's probably gonna lose on purpose towards the end, and they'll just hand it to Obama again. Chances are, because I've been reading something about Romney being in a Ponzi scheme involving $8 or $9 billion, and the partners he was with have been indicted and are being taken to court. I don't know if I say indicted, but I think 1 or 2 may have been, but nonetheless, his partners, they're getting sued right now. He's not named on the lawsuit yet, but he was part of it. And this article I read points out that, wouldn't it be interesting, you know, coincidence of course, that if by, say, September or October-ish, this makes headline news, he's pulled in, his name's on the lawsuit, Ponzi scheme, there's not a chance in hell he will win. And your boy Ron Paul, if they get their way, won't be the choice anyways. It's a 100% guarantee Obama will be back in the office, in the Oval Office. So, that's a whole nother story, but I've got a reminder to remind myself around September and October on my calendar to pop back up to refresh my memory, because I may forget about it by then, about that, to see if there's any news headlines pointing towards or mentioning Romney, Ponzi scheme, etc. And if there is, that's the plan. They've got this under control. Their guy Obama is going to be in office again. End of story. So I just want to share that with you. Bottom line, man, as I said, keep stacking. When this margin increase hits, like I said, in 90 days from now, I'm going to see what the price of silver is at. If we're not at over 35, about 35 or $40, I'm not selling any. I'm going to hold on to it again and just ride it through. And if they crash the price down, I'm going to go buy more. Just like right now, if I see freaking $20 silver or lower, man, I'm going in, because we may find out right now that JP Morgan, this is their time frame. They've got 90 days or more to unload their short position. Simply because what I read on April 18th, the CFTC had a meeting on the swaps. And from what I read out of there, it appeared that they came to the agreement of the definition of swaps. I didn't quite catch where it said, okay, 60 days from now, everyone has to be in compliance. But it appeared that they came to the proper definition. But I should probably call them today and ask. As a matter of fact, I think I'm going to call the CFTC and ask. And I'll put the comments in the description of this video whether or not the CFTC says yes, the rule's been implemented and we've got 60 days, or not. Or yes, they've defined it, but they're not giving us the start date yet for the 60 days to start. Something like that. I'll put it in the description box. So anyways, I gotta go. Lot to think about. Stand strong. Hold your silver. I haven't sold any of mine. I'm not thinking about selling any of mine. I'm holding it, and I will buy more if the price keeps going down. So, take care.